Kia ora, Gemini, welcome. This is your reading for the full moon in Gemini, which is happening as we speak. Now, I'm trying to keep these videos faster and maybe a little bit shorter because our attention spans, I guess, in that vein at the moment, or have been for a while. So let's get into it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, as always, and thanks for joining me. It's much appreciated. Like, shares, comments, subscribes. So this full moon in Gemini, we're getting a few cards coming out. I don't know if any of you have found, maybe over the last few days, some challenges within the realms of how we communicate, sort of taking a step back and taking a breath, and maybe refining it a bit, looking at it from an objective point of view. I mean, in terms of how we relate to others, how we communicate. Okay, so we come out here. We have a few other decks to clarify also, if you haven't joined me before, and we have a rock mineral crystal card face down. We'll pull it out at the end for you, Gemini. So I think over a period of time, it looks to be, in this storyline today, there's been a weight that's been carried, whether that's stress, whether it's obligations, that kind of thing. We start out here with the 10 of Wands. Now we know the 10 is the end of that suit of wands, of will, of vitality and life force. The responsibilities that we take on, it's really up to us to choose those things. Sometimes we are thrust into situations that are very hard to extricate ourselves from, Gemini. But at this time, talking about this time, we see in this card the ability to be able to release that burden, what feels burdensome to you. We use our imagination in very powerful ways. Now, if I find, and I'm sure a lot of you find, if we don't have much of an imagination, I would think life would be quite awful at times. You know what I'm saying? There's a connection here between this Princess of Cups, this dreaming muse, the creative drive, the creative inspirations. We could be talking about cooking, gardening, art, music, all of that, writing. There's a key here that in order to release a burden, maybe something that has felt heavy for a while, you want to put it aside. The key, an easy transition, is to get into the realms of your imagination, of those things that, of those things of a creative nature. And it's a deep dive. It's a deep dive here. This concertinaed skirt, it appears maybe sometimes a bit illusionary, intangible, but this fanning of the skirt exposes or shows us really the intense kind of level of depth of the imagination. Very important, Gemini, at this time. And of course we see the sun coming out then, because there's full expression here. A panacea to any weighty, problematic times is through the imagination, the creative force within you, and everyone has that. We come here with the sun, feeling very vital, having a new ability to see the light, to play in it, a lightness of being. And then beautiful Six of Swords is telling us that we are actually, whether we're seeing it yet or not, seeing the light or not, we are actually moving to a far better place for us at the moment, whether that's psychologically, whether it's actually physically, whether there is a physical move going on. This is an invulnerable card. It's an incredibly strong card, the Six of Swords. If I didn't say that, I might have said the Six of Discs. Six of Swords. It's the power of the mind. The power of the imagination. So let's clarify, Gemini. Let us clarify, not that we necessarily need to know this burden, but it does feel like it's been around for a while. We have the Hanged Man, and it's been necessary weight, I think. So it's pushed us into this Hanged Man mode, which you may have felt you have been in and out of for quite a while. For quite a while, actually, for some of you out there. So, you know, the Hanged Man is a time of cutting out all the extraneous noise and diversions and distractions in order to take time out, basically, in your chrysalid here. When you come down from here, which I think this is the process that's occurring now, you will have a new perspective, maybe about external things, situations in your life, but also a different perspective about how you see yourself. More importantly, let's look at the Princess of Cups, this very Venusian, Neptunian Princess of Cups, coming to you quite fast. We've got the Knight of Cups here, clarifying that there's a potential rebalancing of the male and female within yourself. Now that's for everyone. We all have one and the other. There's a somehow in here there's a rebalancing of that, and I do think it's, wow, you're starting to see that, because I see that as a kind of, we're talking about a new inner peace, calmness. We can be very in that mercurial sense, Gemini, we can be very boom, boom. It's all happening up here. You know, it never shuts up, right? I think you're taking a few more deep breaths than what you have done in recent months. And therefore you are able to receive more. Now I'm going to go, I often find it impossible to make these readings too short. So we've got quite a few cards to clarify. I wanted more from that than the Knight of Cups. And this is what we see here, a balancing, a receptivity. The Two of Cups, choice, commitments, contracts with others. We're taking a step away from that and rethinking our contracts. What are worthwhile? What have passed? What have played out and been completed? With that Two of Cups, we're also seeing a full balance here. Conflict, Five of Wands. Pushing up against boundaries, testing our own boundaries and those of others around us that we communicate with, that are in our lives. As I said to begin with, there's been a bit of challenging sort of internal, internal, looking at our own ways of how we communicate, behave, in word, in action, in reaction of late. leading up to this full moon in your sign. Then we have the Nine of Discs, a card of great independence, self-made independence. We feel confident in that card, Gemini. Let's look at the sun. The sun shining brightly. What is the sun for Gemini? It's been very confident and secure about where you're at. King of Swords, no mucking around. You know, part of that Ten of Wands, which opened this reading, that weight, includes a lot of rumination, Gemini. So we've got this Knight of Swords cutting through the curtain to let the light in, you know, to let that sun shine. And where are we? Six of Swords. Just finding a level of ease and peace and internal balance. This came out twice too. Queen of Pentacles. So maybe we're feeling more confident about our ability to survive in this world, to have coin. You know, and there's a focus required within that. It's called survival as well. Queen of Pentacles is a wonderful queen that can often look after others. But in order to do that, she must first and foremost be very well aware of her own needs, Gemini, in order to do that, in order to be that benevolent queen. Maybe you're discovering new aspects of that within yourself. I do think you are. Now, I'll get a Brian Froud Pixie and Fairy, then we'll pull up a rock mineral crystal that you can take with you in your mind's eye during the week. Just getting an overview here with the card from the Fairy Oracle. We're talking about following that light. Whether it's the sun, whether it's the moon. Here we have Lace the Moon's daughter, following that moonlight, because there are pieces of the past that we have left, breadcrumbs that somehow guide our way now. If something could be left from the past and retrieved, a sort of... we're guided by our past experience is what I'm trying to say. But we're on a new journey, right? But some of those breadcrumbs help us along our way in the direction that we are going. Things are opening and have opened up and are illuminated at this time for you, Gemini. So that's a wonderful thing. And you've done all the hard work too. Rock mineral crystal, we get the beautiful celestite, communicating with angels. Some of you may find that. Tranquility, good fortune, and deep meditation. This is very much. So, on that note, thanks for joining me, Geminis out there, whether it's your moon, ascendant, or your sun sign. This may well be very much, what was I going to say, very much in relation to the sun and the moon. We're getting that quite a feeling of those luminaries at play for you at the moment. On that note, ka kite, take care, Gemini. We'll see you next time round.